Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday morning trading room. Last day of the work week. And hold on here just a second. Okay. All right, so yesterday's session, as we suspected, it was more or less a sideways sort of day. The market really didn't wander too far out of the initial trading range that it had established early on. Just kind of kept waffling back and forth. The overnight did see a breakout to the upside, but we've settled back inside that trading range or near that trading range as of the open. Trade forecaster says we are going to be in trend mode today, so we'll see how that plays out. That would be nice. It's still a little bit early here for me to start to get too excited about a trade, but there are some opportunities presenting themselves. There's a first micro-macro cross to the short side right here on the hawk. A trend change signal, an early trend change signal followed by the proper trend change signal right now on the Falcon. For you Raptor traders, let's see. We did have a counter trend signal right here, a whiff trend signal just on the opening bell or a few minutes before the opening bell. Another counter trend signal that did not print as such. That's a number 2 signal right here. It did not print as a number 2 signal, probably because there were a few too many bars here between the test of the extreme for the programming to pick it up. But visually, it is a number 2 signal. The target is the hard edge, and it looks as though we managed to get down there. So it's tough to tell right now. Wow, way to go, Mark. Mark says he had a very productive pre-market. Let's take a look here at the pre-market. Ooh, I see. Yeah, there was a decent move higher and lower an hour or so before the market opened. For those of you living on the East Coast or even Central Time, or are really early risers here on the West Coast, pre-market, especially an hour before, is usually fairly active. So here's an hour before the market opened, and you can see we had a nice little rally up. Mark doing 3 trades, he said, trading with size as well. So a very profitable start to the day for Mark. Way to go, Mark. Okay, it does look as though we're building on some support here. Technically, here was the first micro-macro cross, hasn't hit the target yet. We're back into the hard edge of the trading band where, of course, we anticipate some sort of reaction to come our way. Floyd's watching crude oil. He says there's a bit of a rally going on in crude. I've actually put crude oil on my fast chart. So here's crude oil. Oops, I guess we're not in February crude anymore. Let me change that. Yeah, nice little rally up. Like I say, I've placed crude oil now on the chart with the alternate settings just because crude oil has been so quiet. And you can see even with the alternate settings, I'm barely spanning my monitor here. And you know what? It almost seems like crude is more active during the overnight session than it is during its native North American session. Here was the North American session yesterday, like something like this. And then here's the overnight right there. And there's the overnight. That's not always the case, of course, but it sure does seem as though crude is saving all its good moves for the overnight session. Okay, after a little bit of a counter trend attempt, it looks as though the buyers stepping in. Fridays can be a tricky sort of trading day. If I had my way, I probably would not trade on Friday. Okay, so a pretty nice reaction off of that hard edge. You see what I mean? Whenever the market encounters the hard edge of the trading band, whether it be here on the Eagle or on the Raptor, we're always on the lookout for some sort of reaction. And if the conditions are right, what I mean by that is there enough room here to profit before we get near the highs of the day? Or at least can we do something with our stops if the market starts to stumble? Can I at least get my stops to a break-even type situation or take a smaller profit if the trade doesn't work out? And you can see no problem on this trade. So good thing to watch for when the market gets to the hard edge of the trading band. Mark says this is where I get leery when the market starts making all these new all-time highs. Yeah, it can be a little nerve-wracking, but of course, if the market is in an uptrend, the resistance isn't going to mean a whole lot. All right, well, they're slowing their rally once again. You know, you can learn a lot about the market condition just by seeing how the legs of each market form. This is what I would call a leg, or some people refer to it as a swing. You'll see them get shorter. You'll see them not get as high vertically. This is where the whole idea of support and resistance comes in. As you can see, it's all right for the market to pause, but when we get this breakout, of course, we would anticipate more follow through still, and that doesn't seem to be the case right now. And we're producing another hard edge buy signal. Elmer, I'm not sure I totally understand your question, but let me see if I can take a crack at it. Elmer asks, Eric, could you explain how Trade Manager NinjaTrader 7 treats multiple orders in the same, eventually opposite directions? I only tried it in Sim so far, not live. Okay, well, Trade Manager, of course, selects your position size based if you're in risk mode, it bases on your account size. So if you place your stops here, you're going to get more contracts. If you place your stops a little bit further away, you're going to get fewer contracts. The idea is that the risk amount never really changes. If you switch to manual mode, by just clicking on that tab there, the quantity will default to this value right here. If you can still enter orders on your chart by right-clicking as well, and that will also submit to this value. Now, if you're talking about reversing orders, the Trade Manager, it used to have a reverse button, but we got rid of it. Reversing orders are a bad idea, in my mind. Reversing orders are a great way to lose money. Now, you can do an order reverse, and let's say you typically want to trade 3 contracts, so you would dial your quantity here up to 3 in manual mode. And let's say you were already long this position right here. If you wanted to do a reverse, you would simply hit your sell button twice. The first click will flatten your order, because if you are long, if you bought, to get out, you actually have to sell. If you click it again, that will reverse your order and get you going the other direction. But like I say, it's a bad idea. Because the market, it flip-flops, right? It looks bullish one second, then it's bearish the next. You gotta hang on a little bit and try to decipher which way the market's really ready to go. And it looks like we may be getting ready to head a little bit lower. We're really struggling now off of the hard edge again. We would anticipate a reaction higher, but we're not getting it. So Elmer, I don't know if that's what you were getting at. If not, maybe you could clarify your question a little. And in the meantime, I'm going to be looking here for a selling opportunity. I suppose in a way this is a little bit of a convoluted number 2 signal. Not much in the way of a test of the extreme, but you could look to short below there. We also have a trend change signal here on the Falcon, so that's saleable. And it's the same setup as what we're looking at here on the Raptor. Hey, did they just slip me? I think they did. They did too. Stinkers. Let's see if I can get that. Those $5 back. Lack of volume. Ooh, quick little move there. Hooray. You know what? I'm gonna stretch my profit target on this one. I'm gonna take it down here to the next resistance line. Didn't matter. Shoot. First micro macro cross now. You can try to capitalize on that one. We are in the hard edge of the Eagle band again and the Raptor band. So maybe the prudent entry here is not on the hash mark itself. You can do a second push, or you can enter below there. Let's try a second push. Can I risk it up there? Well, I can. And I think what I'll do, because I've only got the single contract in play, is I'm going to delete my profit target and just see if I can't run this one out a little bit. Sorry about that, guys and girls. So I was just saying that was a pretty good little move to the short side on the hawk here, that first micro macro cross. Nice quick little move down. Again, with the hawk, there's nothing wrong with taking a scalp target, but because it's still early, I thought, well, let's try to run it out a little bit, and that did work out pretty well. It was a shame, however, I got bounced on that hiccup in the Raptor trade, but it was a good trade all the same. No point in being greedy. And not a bad trade, you know, considering I'm just doing singles here in the trading room. Keep in mind, if you can do it with singles, you can do it with multiples as well. And that's really where the strength in trading comes in. When you're able to trade multiple contracts. The Falcon now going to produce a late filter entry signal. The Raptor is going to produce a #1 cloud crossover signal. I think the idea here is we're not going to want to crowd the trade too much, because we need to run a ginormous stop to pull this off. The way around that is to delay your entry a little bit or wait for a second push. So the second push just means we let the signal engage. We see where the market reacts. And then we place our entry below that reaction bar. Are you going to give me a chance? By doing that, by knowing this is where the market is flinching now, I can manage the trade with a slightly tighter stop. Maybe I'll use the support and resistance zone here to get the trade going if in fact it continues lower. Or you can wait for a better setup as well. You can wait for the market maybe to come back to the hard edge. That would also retest these lows, right? Old support should become new resistance. Okay, well, I'll park that order there. I don't think I'm going to get a fill on it. There was a nice little 4-arrow consolidation here in the hawk. It drifted down to its scalp target, but not much further. Coming back with yet another macro pullback signal. So we'll see how serious the buyers are. If they can muster a rally or whether the sellers are just going to take them to the woodshed. Well, they're definitely slowing their decline somewhat. And here on the hawk, we're developing a little bit of a sideways drift. All right, let's see if the sellers have any follow through now. suppose I could have tightened the order here a little bit. I didn't see that secondary signal print. Could have got in a few ticks earlier. And I suppose, well, I'll just manually roll it, but I can bring my stop into here. And hopefully we're going to see one more push lower. Come on. So on this next bar lower, I'm going to get a lot more serious about bringing my stops in. In fact, I'm going to bring my break even up to here. Oh, I really don't want to strangle this trade, but okay, I'll bring my stops in above this resistance line. There we go. Come on, there should be some follow through. Come on, you stinkers. Oh, so close. I probably managed that trade a little too aggressively. Yeah, there they go. Scoundrels. Oh well. The broker will be happy. Here's this spike of selling that's going through the market, and there's the follow through. So yeah, I was a little bit too quick on the stops on that one. Oh well. Needed to give it one more bar. Actually, had I gotten the earlier entry, it would have been a little bit easier to manage as well. So rather than get my entry down here, had I adjusted my trade to take advantage of this secondary signal, which is just the continuation of the number one signal, that would have or could have worked out a little bit better for me. Oh, way to go, Mark. Mark's saying he took that late filter entry signal, so now he's in sim mode. Good job. Okay, the buyers making their stand now at the primary resistance line, getting a little bit of a reaction there. This could end up producing a counter trend signal here on the Raptor. I'm thinking ahead now, this could produce a number 2 signal, maybe bring us back to the hard edge of the trading band. Okay, so we're making a little bit of a bottoming style formation. The Falcon already, excuse me, into green, a green trend line, a green filter. The Raptor now testing the extreme, the lows. And there's the very quick little trend change signal on the Falcon. This is what we would call an early trend change signal. And here now the number 2 signal on the Raptor. Let's see if that's going to print as a number 2. It is a number 2 signal. There it is. And this is a counter trend signal. I wouldn't go in with size if you're going to try it. Just do a onesie. The reason is, you see, we've got a strong downtrend. And this may just end up being like a bear flag. Oh, okay. Julian he says, I got a tech question here. Sent an email last week. I need to migrate my machine ID. Have had no response to my email. Okay, so Ben obviously did not get your email. You'll want to email Ben at support@indicatorwarehouse.com and then CC it. Any emails like that, I would recommend that you do a CC to Adam at indicatorwarehouse.com. So if you guys ever have questions like that, Ben is the guy, he's the nuts and bolts guy. He's the one who will actually do it, but it's a good idea to copy Adam on the email because Adam's the big cheese and he wants to make sure that stuff like that gets done. So he will follow it up. Yeah, Randy says we got a Raptor set up here. We do. It's a our counter trend signal, like I say, you need to be careful with these counter trend signals because we've got ourselves a downtrend, and the danger with a counter trend signal like this may end up being nothing more than a bear flag. So if you're counter trend, well, then you kind of blocked yourself from taking the with trend signal as well. So a little bit of a touchy situation every time you try a counter trend trade, which is why I'm not a fan. They are oh so tempting. Those darn counter trend trades, they are so tempting. But they're dangerous too. I've mentioned this before. Trading is very much a game of probabilities. You're always trading off. You're trading off the probability of success for risk, really is what it amounts to. So here we're trading off the probability of a successful trade for knowing exactly where we need to cover our position. We need to cover it right here below this low. We can cap the risk amount on it. Very often the risk amount will be smaller than for some of our other trades, but the probability of the trade working out is lower as well. In fact, I'm going to bring my break even in on this one too. If this next bar forms bullish, this current bar forms bullish, I'll take a break even trade. And then you got the regular setup. So like this number one signal, well, the proper stop is up here, right? The big swing up here, or even this swing right there. Well, you're trading off bigger risk for an increased probability of success. Darn it. Got caught on the hiccup. Okay, Randy's asking what my parameters are. Okay, well, they're pretty much the defaults. So for most markets, the exception, the popular exception is the E-mini S&P. But for most markets, we're going to be running an 8-tick brick. And then if you go here to your indicator window and you highlight your Raptor 2.0, so again, I have the default cloud sizes, the default hawk size. The only change I've made, and I'm going to talk to Ben one day about making this the default, is the soft edge sell parameters. That's the number 2 signal. By default, yours will be set at 1.01. The higher you make that value, the more number 2 signals the Raptor will produce. So I found that 1.25 seems to work not too badly. Okay, and here we are producing yet another number 2 signal. This after a number 3 signal. So this one should have some giddy up to it. Prasanth is asking, what are the alternate settings, the faster settings for crude? Okay. If the market you're trading is kind of sluggish, if you're looking at your chart and you've got, daybreak lines like here and here, this is telling you you're not getting enough bars printing throughout the day. So you need to go to the alternate settings, the faster settings. Oops, I have not changed my brick size. So you'll need to change your brick size to a 4-tick brick. And now we're going to go to the indicator window again. And we're going to find our Raptor 2.0. And we're going to make a little adjustment here to the clouds. Oh, it looks like I wasn't on the default or the fast settings. Okay, so we're going to change our clouds and our hawk to a 4-4-6 setting. So we're going to make the hawk brick size 4 ticks. We're going to make the fast cloud 4 ticks. And we're going to make the slow cloud 6 ticks. 4-4-6. And my soft edge parameters I've dialed up already. This is also the default setting for the E-mini S&P. And any market that is either moving very slow or trading at 1250 a tick or greater. And you can see the chart looks pretty much like the NASDAQ chart, right? Not direction-wise, but I just mean the way the chart looks, the cosmetics, if you will. And those are now the faster settings. It's a good idea when you do your fast setting charts that you save a template. Just save it, give it a name. That way you can load, like call it Raptor Fast or Fast Raptor, whatever you want. And that way it'll be handy for you next time you want to change it. You can use other brick sizes as well. The loose relationship between all the tools, I will show you here in just a moment. So let's go back here now to the Raptor. Okay, so the hawk brick size, it tends to be, except for the fast settings, is 3/4 of your bar size. So points, you can take your bar size, multiply by 0.75, 75%, and that will be your hawk brick size value. Your fast cloud will be the same as your brick, and your slow cloud will be 1.5 times your brick size. So if you changed, say, to a 20 tick, you wanted, let's say your timestamp were really compressed here, really fast. Like you saw 701, 701, 701, 701, 702, 702, 702. That means your brick size is too small. This is sometimes the case for those of you trading the stock market with the Raptor. If the stock you're following is printing too quickly, you're going to get a lot of bars scrolling across your chart in a very short period of time. Well, now you have the opposite problem. Your bar size is too small. So it's okay to experiment. So you can, try a larger brick size. So let's say you decided to go with a 20 tick brick. Well, your hawk size would be 3/4 of that, or 15. Your fast cloud would also be 20 ticks, and your slow cloud would be 30 ticks. And that's your starting point. And what you would do then is, once you've applied your chart, take a look at some of the signals and see how the signal performs. Is it a cloud crossover signal? Has the market crossed the clouds? Yeah, there's the pullback, there's the signal. How did the signal work out? Has there been some follow through to the signal? Yes, okay. The counter trend signals. Well, remember, counter trend signals are tricky anyway. So the better counter trend signals will come after a failed number 3 signal. So here's a number 3 signal. There's the counter trend. Did it get back to the hard edge? Yeah, okay, close enough. Now we have another number 3 signal. This is essentially a double pullback now. Was there some follow through there? Yes, there was enough to hit our high probability target, and so on. So you'll go through your chart and you'll see how those trades are printing. You don't want something like this, where you're getting signal after signal after signal after signal. All right, this would require either for you to step back and say, okay, this is just a sideways period of consolidation, I know not to trade that. But if your whole chart looks like this, where you just get signal after signal after signal without any follow through, right? We get the signal, we get some follow through. We get the signal, we get some follow through. Sure, we hit periods of congestion, but if your whole chart is printing signals every 10 bars, you still need to adjust your brick size, because it's probably too small still. But that's rare. Like I said, that's usually something that happens more to stock traders than futures or forex traders. All right, a little bit of a rally up now on that last number 2 signal. Looks like we're putting in a little bit of a base. Looks like the buyers are going to make a little bit of a push higher. We might get a first micro macro cross now that the hawk is green. I believe the trend is still down today, though. We don't want to get too crazy on the buy side. Right, this right out of the, or shortly after the open, big move lower. So we're getting a little bit of a consolidation. Okay, fairly aggressive little pushback from the buyers. Oh darn! I looked away for a second and missed that first micro macro cross I was holding out for. Would have been a nice little scalp move. Okay, now the hawk, or pardon me, the falcon, the trend line has changed. We're working on a trend change signal there. And a very, very early cloud crossover signal here on the Raptor as well. I would like to see a little bit more of a pullback before I get too excited about that, but they may not give it to me. I don't want it to let it get too far away. I'd miss the number 2 signal back here. Are they going to give me that chance or not? Well, there's a little bit of a pushback. Still only have warning dots, don't have a completed signal yet. All right, well, like I say, this is a very early number 1 signal. Way to go, Mark. Yeah, Mark's having a good day here, which, for Fridays, this is a little bit more active than most Fridays. Mark says picked up $300 on that first micro macro cross signal in Sim.
Floyd says, I know it's hard, but you should monitor the other contracts also. Right now, everything but the NASDAQ is moving. Which ones are you watching, Floyd? I know you've got your eye on crude, but what's the other stock index you're watching? The Russell or the YM, the mini Dow? Oh, the mid cap, the Russell, and the mini Dow. Well, I can change the mix. Hold on a second here. Let's see. I'll put the Russell up. A lot of people like the Russell. Okay, so I've swapped out the euro dollar for the Russell. This now the Russell on the Raptor. People like the Russell because they figure it attracts more professional traders. Don't know if that's true or not, but solid signal here at the top of the hour and a nice steady progression from there. So I'll leave that in the mix for a little while. The mid cap, of course, that's always a good mover. Okay, got a green bar sell now on the Eagle. That's the only one looking a little bit bearish. Everything else looking a little bit more bullish right now. All right, so here the green bar sell now. Oh, darn it. Sure, Eric, wait a little bit longer. I had more than enough time to get on that one. I don't know what took me so long, but there you go. A real tug of war going on right now in the marketplace. We're kind of at that balancing point where the market needs to decide, oh yeah, okay, well, we're an hour into the session. This typically happens about an hour into the day where the market has to settle. Is it going to go higher? Is it going to go lower? Right now, I think the bears get the nod for holding the trend. The market's going to bounce around a little bit, but I think we could see it head lower from here. Maybe retest the low of the day. Oh, or not. Actually printing a rule of 3 signal now on the eagle. The hawk, a little bit of a jumbled mess. We got some yellow bars, but starting to turn a little bit more bullish, as is the falcon and the raptor as well. So things might finally be syncing up. Yeah, Julian says there's a lot of large traders today, which is nice to see. And Joel reminding us that it's options expiration today, over 1 million put options expiring today. That's in the E-mini, he says. Yeah, Fridays do get bigger volume because of option expirations, of course. Yeah, Yeah, that's right. Joel says this is, I forgot it's the third week of the month already. Joel says this is the big third week expiration. Doesn't seem like the third week of the new year. Okay, the buyer's taking a stand. Got a first micro macro cross here. Let's see if I can get to it before it runs away on me. And we got a second push entry, and I can enter above the high. So got a couple of things going on here. This is another one because it's just a single contract. And if the bulls are going to have any giddy up to it, I'm going to delete my profit objective. And just leave it all in as a runner. Okay, I got some time. I can reset my trade. There we go. That now went to yellow bars, so I'm going to cancel that. That's no longer a proper first micro macro cross. Well, actually, okay, you know what? I'm going to get a cloud crossover signal here in the Raptor, so I'm going to look at that one instead. This is an early cloud cross. I just have the warning dot. And I'm going to use my buy button to get into this trade. Not quite ready yet. Oh, they keep moving away from those highs. Wow. Actually producing a sell signal. It's just in the middle of the cloud, which, you know, is a mess here on the hawk. It's printing off of yellow bars. Just kind of confirming the sidewaysness of the market. So we have all the makings of a cloud crossover, even though the clouds are not fully crossed. I would consider that an early cloud crossover signal. That's the #1 signal. See, this is a pretty one here, and that worked out very nice. Got a red bar buy in the hawk. If you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive on the buy, there's an opportunity to get long on the next rally up. Ooh, okay, I won't be doing that. Not in this market. But there's a little buying opportunity on the next push up. These red bar buys tend to develop near the end of a trend. So if this is a very convoluted uptrend, the red bar buy is telling us that, hey, it might be coming to a close. A big push by the sellers. So it's starting to look like another sideways trading range, which has been kind of the norm of late. Get a little bit of a rally, then the market just starts to drift sideways. Get a little bit of a rally, and again, a sideways drift. We do have a first micro macro cross here on the hawk now we can take advantage of. So there's that signal. You can take it on a second push, maybe cover it back there to the at least the crest in the macro line. It's a little bit of a crapshoot though. Oh, and they slipped me on the entry too. So we're losing some volume here, folks. The market's getting a little on the thin side. We'll probably see a little bit of buying come back into the market right here, which is just as well because I've got my break even. going around that area. Oh, come on. Give me this one swing. Where's the next support zone? Oh, 68.11.5. That's the median line. Things could get a little sticky around there, and then down to 68.01. 6,800 was a big number yesterday, so no surprise 68.01. Come on, just give me the one swing. That's all I need. Come on. Gonna hold my stop right there. Getting a little bit of a sideways drift. They're looking for more sellers. Can they find any? Or if the buyers, are the buyers going to hold the line? I think the next line down, what was it, 68.11? I think that's doable. 6,800 might be a little bit ambitious. Maybe they'll split the difference and hold up somewhere around 68.07, 68.06. The buyers are not going away. We would have seen more selling, more follow through to the short side. Oh, maybe, just maybe. We'll scare a few off. Mark says I made another 300 on the in sim on that first micro macro cross lower. Steve says 68.15 was the target. Well, looks like we got that all right. And not bad. You can't complain about that. We gave the trade every opportunity to get a little bit lower, but it held up. It's a profit all the same. All right, gang, I think that's going to be it for today. For the week, if you are going to continue trading today, I think we're going to see a sideways trading range develop. The market is just a little bit slow on the follow through higher and lower, which is characteristic of a trading range. And I think we're going to see the market kind of honor this price zone through here somewhere. Like I said, they might slip a little bit lower, but 68.11.5 is the median line. And after that, down to 6,800. So they may get down to 68.06, which would still be a decent move, but I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Okay, well, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.